This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Landmark College in beautiful Putney, Vermont, the college of choice for students who learn differently. Learn more about how we help students with ADHD succeed in college at lcdistraction.org.
Right now, there's so much fear out there about, will I lose my license? What if I talk about being a procrastinator? Or what if I talk about losing stuff or missing deadlines or, the potential, would a law firm not want to hire me because the potential to get sued probably goes up? Will I even qualify to get my license? Should I go to law school at all?
Hello, this is Dr. Ned Halliwell, and welcome to my podcast called Distraction. My guest today is Marshall Lichty, a fascinating man from the wilds of Minnesota. He's had a very interesting life, and he's on the brink of launching a website with a podcast, an ambitious undertaking. It's a very special website, but I won't spoil his thunder by telling you about it. Instead, I'll simply welcome Mr. Marshall Lichty.
Well, thanks so much, Dr. Halliwell. It's really an honor to be here. I'm really thankful to be on the podcast today.
Well, I'm really glad to have you with us. So tell us, you're an attorney, and you've started a very special website. Can you tell us about that?
I did. I am a lawyer, and I'm a lawyer with ADHD, and I learned about it not terribly long ago, and it was in the context of my son being diagnosed with ADHD. And as a lawyer and a researcher and the helper type, I dove in, and that research led me ultimately to being diagnosed myself. And I looked around for community, and as everyone knows, community helps with things like this, and I couldn't find it. I wanted to find other lawyers who knew my struggles at work and, at home, and with frustration and shame and distractibility, and just help me work through the process of getting diagnosed, solve some problems, seize on some opportunities. I couldn't find the right tools in the right place at the right time, and it didn't feel like anybody was talking to me as a lawyer. And so I started JDHD, which is a website and a podcast. It's a consultancy, really, to help curate resources for lawyers that have ADHD.
And it's just for attorneys, just for lawyers?
That's my focus. What I know is that the legal industry has a bunch of opportunity in this space. So as I dug into the research, we know that the best data that we have in 2016, a really fascinating bit of research out of Hazelden and Betty Ford, says that about 12.5% of lawyers self-identify as having ADHD. And that struck me as a really big number. And as I looked around, I still hadn't heard about it. Nobody in our profession was talking about it. So we're a really conservative profession. We have a bias toward preserving status quo. And so there's this weird, slow innovation, weird and slow creativity, weird and slow curiosity for things. And what I love about the idea of letting ADHD lawyers find themselves and find a community and start talking about it is the fact that we can be the solution for some of the problems that are plaguing the legal industry right now. And so that's where it came from.
Yeah, no, you're the creatives. I hope these lawyers will allow themselves to admit having it, because, in the professions there's often stigma. But it's been, I think most trial attorneys have ADHD. I mean, they just love the drama of the courtroom. I imagine some corporate attorneys have it as well. I mean, it's common, as you know, wherever you find high levels of creativity, intelligence, pioneering spirit, you'll find this. So how are you going to publicize it?
One of the ways that we'll publicize it is by getting out and about. So like I said, I'm a consultancy, so I help lawyers with ADHD. But what I think the real power opportunity is to go into the field itself and talk to law firms and legal organizations and bar associations and all of the industry groups out there and explain not just what ADHD is. There are so many lawyers that have it, and vast numbers of them know nothing about it. There's no way they know they have it. And so if we can talk about the education part, can we educate them about what it is, how they learn about it, what they do next, then we start to get the pieces in place for the lawyers themselves. And once those pieces are in place for the lawyers themselves, then we can unleash this latent talent that we've been sitting on for so long to start really changing the profession. So, of course, it comes with destigmatizing it, right? I mean, right now there is so much fear out there about, will I lose my license? What if I talk about being a procrastinator? Or what if I talk about losing stuff or missing deadlines or, the potential, would a law firm not want to hire me because the potential to get sued probably goes up? Will I even qualify to get my license? Should I go to law school at all? I think a lot of that, if we can change the framing of the discussion a little bit and say, yes, of course you have these challenges to overcome, but man, if we can get those things sorted out, the opportunities that you have to change the staid, sleepy old profession that is in desperate need of innovation and entrepreneurialism and creativity, that message is going to resonate far and wide. So to answer your question, I think it is really about starting in law firms and letting them understand that they are sitting on a latent talent pool that they simply do not understand.
That's so true. And I have any number of patients who are lawyers. And the more we can break down stigma, gazillions of doctors have ADD and gazillions of lawyers have ADD and most entrepreneurs have it. So, the time has come to absolutely break down stigma, and what you're doing should absolutely add to that effort. Tell me about the YouTube venture.
So the podcast is taking the form of two different types of episodes. Early in the week, I do an interview-style episode with an expert in some space, either the ADHD medical community, so diagnosers and treaters and prescribers, coaches, therapists, social workers, et cetera, to talk about ADHD, the condition. I'm also interested in productivity. At the end of the day, the reason people find JDHD, the reason they find me, the reason they realize that there's this discrepancy between what they are doing and what they know they can do is because they have a productivity problem, right? They recognize that there's this gap between what they're doing and what they want to do. And so the second piece of it is productivity experts, gurus in helping lawyers with ADHD organize their time, particularly around limiting distractions, limiting interruptions, and also day planning, time blocking, tracking your time, really critical parts of being a lawyer and getting paid for being a lawyer, which is good for the lawyer, of course, but also for their law firms and their organization. Right. And then the third piece is actual JDHD. So we do an interview with lawyers who are living with ADHD and who have developed tools and skills to make that less impactful in their day-to-day lives as law firm lawyers and leaders. So your question about YouTube is really about our productivity work. So as I went out and did the research, the depths to which you can go to find people who have feelings and thoughts and tools and apps and add-ons and extensions for productivity is mind-boggling. And it's very hard to tell where to start and to tell which tools might work for me and which ones might fit into my day-to-day life to help me actually do things a little bit better and more productively. And so the YouTube channel is really going to be about productivity. It's going to be about reviewing apps, reviewing tools, talking through systems, ways of thinking about the world, the Eisenhower matrix, for example. What is urgent, what's important, what's not urgent but important. We talk about mind mapping, which I absolutely adore. So I've reviewed a particular software tool, and that is up on a YouTube channel and things like that. So the YouTube channel is going to be very practical, very small, bits and pieces about real tools that will help lawyers with ADHD maximize their productivity so that they can get on with some of that creativity and entrepreneurialism that we're so excited about.
Yes. It's wonderful. I hope will you be approaching law firms and trying to educate them?
We will. So what I'm most excited about is in the legal industry right now, we are seeing a new drive toward well-being. And you would hope that it was just out of the goodness of heart, but it's not at all. In fact, this study from 2016 didn't just reveal that we have astronomical rates of ADHD, but also revealed that we have astronomical rates of depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts and a whole bunch of other pathologies that are really breaking our profession. We are not well, and our profession needs to heal. And so there has been some movement toward that. Interestingly, in the aftermath of that study in 2016, the American Bar Association came up with some tools and a roadmap and some guidelines for how our profession can start healing itself. Mm-hmm. What was interesting to me was that they largely ignored ADHD.
Of course, because they don't even know about it.
They don't even know about it. And so our first challenge is really this education piece. We have to help people understand that ADHD is a thing. We have to start dispelling some myths. Of course, we've talked about the stigma and the shame, but a lot of it is just myths. Like, this is a 7-year-old boy's condition, and no one else could possibly have it, right?
Yeah, or it means you're stupid and unreliable.
Right, and women can't have it. It's impossible. And so many women that I have talked to, so I've been a law firm consultant for some time, and I've talked to a massive number of women who are very, very bright, and who, when I tell them about JDHD, you can see a light bulb go off.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they have a daughter or a son with ADHD, and as soon as they realize that it's possible for them to have ADHD, they go down an entirely different path with their lives, and it's really empowering. But I want to have that message in front of all of the lawyers, because right now, like I said, and like you observed, they don't know about it.
You're so right. I mean, there's so much to be done to educate people. I'm reading these notes about you. You're an interesting guy. You once helped a boy, you saved a boy from a bear attack?
My father, I hope this will resonate with you, my dad grew up in Concord, New Hampshire, out east. And he grew up, in addition to being a Patriots fan, he grew up as a Boy Scout. He was an Eagle Scout, and he worked at a Boy Scout camp. And as I grew up, I got into scouting, and I went to go work at a Boy Scout camp myself. And one summer day, I woke up bright and early in the morning, and there was a little boy standing at the door of my cabin. I was the boss running the camp, and he said, "Marshall, a friend ate a bear ate my friend." We'd seen a lot of bears, but we'd never had any actual issues with attacks. They're ambient, but not present. Right. And so, in any event, we, long story short, ran to find a boy who turned out to be a really special kid from a really special family, but he was in his tent and had been dragged down into this ravine and was actively in the process of being sort of accidentally attacked by a bear. It was a hungry, starving bear that thought it was a garbage can, we think. Oh. And watching his father save him and then helping do first aid was just this really formative part of my life. And as I think back to those moments and others like them, one of my favorite superpowers of ADHD is we are calm in the face of emergencies. You understand far better than I do the biophysiology of it, but to think about how my brain slowed down in that moment and how most people were buzzing about like chickens with their heads cut off, it's one of the moments of most clarity for me in how I think about how lawyers with ADHD can really maximize the skills and tools that we have. So,
wow. And you once had a grown man's severed big toe in your palm? How did that happen?
Yes. It's funny that we're talking about trauma, but yes. So I had a guy that worked for me, and we cut down trees as Boy Scouts time to time. And this particular guy, something had happened. I don't know what. He was a young, hot-headed guy, great guy. And he marched off into the woods and was cutting wood angry in a pair of sandals, and he missed, and he severed a digit with an axe. And again, I don't know why my Boy Scout voice is so high, but Marshall, I have this toe. And sure enough, he dropped the toe right into my...
Oh, my Lord. I hope they were able to reattach the toe?
No. So there we are.
That's too bad. And then you also think the Minnesota Twins are the best team in baseball.
It's not even debatable, Ned, and I know that you have a number of degrees and a lot of experience. My dad wanted me to be a Boston fan, and much to his chagrin, I am a Twins fan through and through.
We're in good ADD fashion. We're wandering far astray from the reason we had you, which was to talk about your wonderful new website, thejdhd.com.
It is thejdhd.com, and what I can say is for anybody out there who is a lawyer, or for that matter, anyone in adjacent industries, a paralegal, if you're an administrative type, if you are a law student, if you're a professor, if you're a judge, head to the jdhd.com/course. We have a free 10-day email course that will help introduce you to ADHD, and it will help you start to get your arms around how lawyers can release all of the untapped potential that we have and bring it to bear in our lives and in our careers and in our organizations. I really think that lawyers with ADHD are the answer to some of the real problems that are plaguing our industry. And we can do it together, but it's about education and it's about community. And we're doing both of those at the JDHD. And I have to tell you, I think it would be foolish of me to say that I would be where I am if it weren't for you and for the work that you have done, Doctor. Driven to Distraction was the first book that I read when I was diagnosed. It is, to this day, earmarked by my bed and my computer, and it has some of the most extraordinary insights into this condition that resonated with me from the moment I started reading it. And that is the kind of education, that is the kind of community and support and healing and tools that we need to get our arms around the struggles and absolutely unleash the power in these lawyers. And so I just wanted to say thank you. I'm so honored to be on. I am so honored to have a chance to talk to you and say thank you for what you have done for this condition and the people that have it.
Well, Marshall, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for what you're doing to try to bring the good news to these attorneys, these lawyers who don't know about it, but whose lives could be so dramatically improved if they did know about it. And I think you're right. They could solve a lot of the problems that your profession is facing if they jumped in and got a handle on their superpowers, I like to call it. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's really wonderful. And thank you for coming on Distraction. Marshall Lichty, Lichty, and his new website, all of you in the legal profession, go to thejdhd.com. It's a tremendous service full of knowledge, and I love your passion and vision. It's wonderful, Marshall. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Doctor. Like I said, thanks for your work and for bringing this potential, this superpower out into the open. I think we all have a lot to look forward to and to be hopeful for, both in legal and elsewhere.
Thanks a million.
And thank you, Doctor. Go Twins.
Okay. All right. Take care. All right. Well, that's our show for today. Marshall Lichty. Learn more about Marshall and JDHD at his website, thejdhd.com. All of you in the legal profession, go learn about it. So many lawyers, paralegals, people in that profession, judges, for goodness sake, so many judges, have this condition and don't know it. And they could do their job so much better, not to mention their personal lives so much better, if they did find out about having this and how to manage it. Wonderful, innovative service from Marshall Lichty. And please remember to reach out to us with your questions, comments, show ideas at connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's connect@distractionpodcast.com. And if you're inclined, record your comment or question using the voice memo app on your phone and send it to us that way. We'd love to include more of your voices in the show, and recording a voice memo makes it really easy for us. Distraction is a production of Sounds Great Media. The inestimably wonderfully talented Pat Keogh is our recording engineer and editor, and the bountiful, beautiful Sarah Gerton is our producer.